If you could do local production, great. I don't know that I would say that it's feasible for most hubs, for most airport hubs, which then the next best option is to have something that is nearby-ish that you can distribute from. I also, and this might conflict a little bit with a comment Ashura made about, rather than thinking about what the need is, we could think about what is possible. I think that we can have cases where an ideal view of this in my mind is kind of like the hydrogen hub model, where we have a centralized place of production that feeds a multitude of industries, because there is need across other industries, things like steelmaking, things like other heavy duty industries that don't have other options, like aviation does not have other options that are viable. So if we can have this kind of high production rate hub for the gaseous hydrogen, we will need something like a pipeline. Trucks are not going to cut it because of the volume and the kind of energy intensity of the enterprise of airports. But again, shipping liquid from an offsite place, you're still going to need to do local liquefaction because you got boil off losses, you got other things along the pathway to get to the airport. And so, as a consequence of all of this, how would you build pipelines? Well, the ideal version would be that you build new ones, but we've got this whole like NIMBY syndrome of not in my backyard, new pipelines are going to go up. Sleeving existing pipelines is technically possible. People have thought about things like, can I blend it with natural gas? And the short answer is, yeah, kind of, but it's not pretty and it doesn't really work for a long term
And then you
basis.
still have more work to do on on the end, and then that's more cost and more energy.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a whole wealth of questions that people are addressing right now and researching and trying to come up with clever strategies around that does deal with the mobility and the transportation of hydrogen pipeline wise, because it really isn't a great compatibility with our existing pipeline systems today. Also, while at DFW, I got educated in kind of how pipelines work, right? And how, you push various fuels through the same pipeline, and hydrogen really doesn't have a place there. So if you're using kind of the key pipelines that exist in the US at least, that are pushing diesel and gasoline and Jet A and those types of things. Good luck getting time on it if you can even get the material compatibility question resolved. So it's an open question as far as I'm concerned, how to do it. But I think that the pipeline option of gaseous inbound to the airport is really where we should be. Where I would say that the best bang for your buck is, but I'm happy to be wrong too. I'm not gonna die on a hill of that opinion.
Well, that was one thing that I liked a lot about what the hubs did right, is that they were in locations where if they were piping to an airport, it's not a long distance and there were pipes there. And that was one thing that they did really good, was the way they strategically located them.